5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Thunderbirds, The Trap, adapted by Ellis Pagan from an original story for the Viewmaster system. Ellis Pagan also reads the story alongside Chris Dale, Michael Francis, and Ben Anderson. Preparations were well in hand for the proving flight of Superstrike 24, the fantastic assault plane specially designed to put the American Air Force well in the forefront with conventional aircraft. Their base, somewhere in the Midwest, was a hive of activity, and almost the entire cabinet of the world government was on hand to view the launching. Superstrike 24 had been designed to fly at speeds in excess of Mach 4, carrying a full load. But while frictions between the nations of the Earth was virtually a thing of the past, there were still unsavory aliens from other planets who made use of get-rich-quick criminals on our planet to disrupt the good done by the world government and their elder powers in the Union of the Universe. This therefore necessitated the formation of small but powerful police forces. But not even the Global Defense Force would have thought to check a temple in the Malaysian jungles. This was home to one of the world's most notorious creatures of Nemesis, an arch-villain known only as the Hood. He was reading an article in a newspaper all about Superstrike 24. Said the Hood.
This could be just the pawn I need in a game of chess which will bring the world under my thumb. But how to bring international rescue into play? This will require some thought.
So he thought. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the Universal Communications Network was broadcasting Superstrike 24's maiden voyage in sound only, for security reasons, and there was an audience of multi-millions following every word. Among those avid listeners were the famous Tracy family. Famous, yes, though their individual identities had to remain secret in order that they could carry out the work of international rescue without interference. "Gee, Dad," said Scott, "that sounds like a really great craft."
Yeah, it would have been interesting to be on this test flight,
replied Jeff Tracy.
I should imagine they've incorporated the new hyperdynamic tension thrust unit I heard about at the World Scientific Conquest last month.
Oh, they have vastly improved on that, Mr. Tracy,
remarked Brains.
If you listen to the pitch of the thrust unit, you can hear the improved gyro system giving extra boost.
Anyway, I'd like to be setting up the controls right now,
said Alan excitedly.
Even if I could be in the audience, I'd be happy.
Jeff smiled at the enthusiasm and remarked,
I'm afraid there's not much chance of seeing this particular craft for a while yet. This is one plane that's going to be kept very much under wraps.
But little did the Tracy family know that within a matter of hours, they would be called on to come to the aid of this very craft. Fate and the Hood was about to involve them in a plot to steal their secrets and those of the fabulous new assault craft. Back at the Midwest base, the reporter for the Universal Communications Network was describing the scene to the multi-millions listening across the world. And there she goes, folks, he said. Superstrike 24 is airborne. What a fantastic craft she is. This moment will go down in history as a landmark in military aviation. And this specially selected audience, representing the world government, has actually stood up and cheered this magnificent inaugural flight. What a wonderful sight. Now, I'll hand you over to my colleague from the Universal Communications Network, who is circling the area in a helijet. Over to you, Bill.
This is Bill Douglas aboard the Universal Communications Network helijet,
announced Bill Douglas.
At any moment now, Superstrike 24 will be flashing past across our front. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. And here she comes now. Oh boy, she's really flying. The sun is really sparkling off her paintwork, and now she's rocking her wings in salute before she sets off across the world. Oh, how I wish you could see this truly great aircraft. She's so graceful. Well, that's it, folks. She's almost out of sight now. What a memorable day this has been. I'll hand you back to the studio now. Bill Douglas, Universal Communications Network, signing off.
Meanwhile, deep in the Malaysian jungles, evil plans were afoot. The Hood waited in his eastern temple, planning disaster for Superstrike 24 and for international rescue. At last, it was time to put his plan into inauguration.
Soon your secrets will all be mine, International Rescue,
he hissed.
As for you, Superstrike 24, now I have got you where I want you. Just a flick of the switch, and you will be forced into a spot accessible only to International Rescue. There! Got you!
In the control cabin of Superstrike 24, all the instruments had suddenly gone dead.
Superstrike 24 to base,
began its pilot.
This is Commander Glenn reporting total instrument failure. We're making a forced landing at point 0283, code 5Y. Request urgent help.
Point 0283 was a cliff in the jungles of Malaysia. Superstrike 24 skimmed above the surface towards the edge. It hit the surface and bounced up again. The craft bounced along the surface and finally belly-flopped down onto a tiny island of leaves and foliage some 20 inches from the cliff edge. Thankfully, the crew were only slightly injured, but any wrong move would spell disaster for both the crew and the craft. At the Midwest base, the control center swung into action. All was calm and efficient, but there was an air of despondency when the crash location was plotted.
Control to Superstrike 24,
said the controller.
Relaying on all possible help. Stand by for further instructions.
Superstrike 24 to base. Make it quick, buddy. We're in danger of going over the edge.
And they were. It was a tricky situation with only one solution. The controller had the base put out an emergency call to international rescue. This, of course, was just what the Hood wanted. His plan was falling nicely into place. Up in Thunderbird 5, John listened carefully.
And we'd be most grateful for any help possible,
said Commander Glenn.
The situation is really desperate. You're the only hope we've got.
This is International Rescue, acknowledging your call,
replied John.
Help will be on the way in a matter of minutes. Stay on the air and advise us of any further developments. We'll be back to you shortly.
And so John relayed the plea for help to International Rescue's Secret Island headquarters. His call was immediately acknowledged, and Jeff Tracy swiftly prepared to mount a very tricky rescue operation. The atmosphere in the lounge of Tracy Island, the control center of International Rescue's operations, was tense. Jeff was outlining the operation to Scott, Virgil, and Brains.
Okay, Scott, you got your map reference?
He said.
Better be on your way while I brief Virgil. Report back on the required equipment as soon as possible.
Okay, Dad, I'm on my way, replied Scott. Brains and Virgil can be checking on the grabs and loading the usual heavy lifting gear until I come through. Scott made for the revolving door in the wall, which swung him into position for entering Thunderbird 1. The others, meanwhile, continued to prepare for their part of the operation. Thunderbird 1 was ready on the launch pad for Scott. All the international rescue craft were at constant readiness for action, fully fueled and equipped. Scott entered his vast machine by means of the telescopic ramp which carried him right into the pilot's cabin. Once Scott was securely in his seat, the giant craft glided smoothly down the ramp to the launch pad beneath Tracy Island's swimming pool. In a matter of moments, Thunderbird 1 was off. The mighty motors lifted it skyward with maximum thrust. Thunderbird 1 launched and heading for target area, reported Scott over the craft's radio. Estimated time of arrival 1 hour 10 minutes.
FAB, Scott,
replied Jeff.
Let us know what the necessary additional equipment should be as soon as you can. Virgil is standing by to follow you in Thunderbird 2.
Aided by a strong tailwind, Scott raced his powerful craft to the scene of the crash 10 minutes ahead of schedule. Given the same conditions, Virgil and Thunderbird 2 would be with him in another hour and 15 minutes. As he circled the stricken craft, Scott radioed his report back to Tracy Island. "The Superstrike looks secure enough at present," he said, "but I'm not too happy about the terrain. It could shift at any moment. I'll hold my securing spears until the last minute in case I start a landslide. Better load up all the heavy lifting gear you can, Virgil, though I think the grabs will do the trick."
Thanks, Scott.
Replied Virgil.
Thunderbird 2 is ready to go. Be with you in just over an hour.
The arrival of Thunderbird 1 had been carefully observed by the Hood, who had already reached the scene from his nearby temple.
"Now I have got you, International Rescue. I've waited a long time for this moment."
He cackled to himself.
"Just carry on with your rescue so I can photograph all your equipment in operation. Then I will bring you down, just as I did Superstrike. Even if you crash, my X-ray cameras will still have all the necessary information."
Yes, it really looked like the famous international rescue team was doomed to disaster. The Hood seemed to have everything nicely sewn up, but what he didn't know was that Brains, the brilliant designer of the Thunderbird craft, had built into them several safety gadgets designed for such emergencies. Scott concluded his briefing for Thunderbird 2 and announced, "Switching to secret transmission code BL6, on channel, now." The sudden switch puzzled Jeff, Tracy and the others until Scott explained what was happening.
"My camera detector is signaling,"
he reported.
"Someone is photographing my every move. It shouldn't be the boys in Superstrike 24. They were warned about security involvement. But check with them anyways, and check the following cross-reference for the location of the camera."
Scott reported the cross-reference, then went off the air. Jeff, Tracy, Virgil and Brains acted on Scott's report instantly. They plotted Thunderbird 2's course and rescue equipment, and at the same time verified that the unknown photographer was indeed an enemy. A coded warning was flashed to Scott.
"International Rescue calling Thunderbird 1.
Warned Jeff.
Your suspicions been confirmed. Photographer is alien, under the alias The Hood. Deal with him when the mission is safely completed."
"FAB, Father,"
replied Scott. Sometime later, Phase 2 of the operation was seen underway. The mammoth Thunderbird 2 craft rumbled out from its cliff face hangar, with the runway's palm trees swinging out of the way in the process, and came to rest on its launching ramp. The ramp rose to a 5-degree incline, and the exhaust shield opened behind the vehicle. With a mighty roar, Thunderbird 2 was airborne and speeding towards the crash area, suitably equipped for a tricky heavy rescue. In just over an hour, Virgil in Thunderbird 2 joined Scott at the scene.
Okay, Scott. Ready when you are.
He reported.
All equipment is set up and operational.
FAB, Virgil.
Scott reported back.
You're just in time. The terrain is beginning to crumble.
As Virgil maneuvered Thunderbird 2 into position for the liftoff, Scott noticed that Superstrike 24 was beginning to slip towards the edge. Her weight was making the ground collapse beneath her. There was no time to waste. Scott swiftly put Thunderbird 1 into a steep diving turn and swooped at top speed towards the crashed aircraft. "I'm going to fire my securing spears now, Virgil," he yelled. "Be ready to move immediately in case I start a landslide." With a mighty swoosh, the giant securing spears rocketed into position below the stricken craft. Scott held his breath and watched anxiously. The spears held firm, and the craft's slide was halted. Virgil had been watching the operation as he maneuvered into position.
Good shooting, Scott,
he said.
That should hold her whilst I get into position. I'll go straight in with the grabs now.
Virgil swung Thunderbird 2 around, hovered over the stricken Superstrike 24, and lowered his powerful grabs. Scott supervised the operation from Thunderbird 1's control cabin. "Clamps in position, Virgil," said Scott. "Contact!" The powerful grabs snapped gently but firmly onto the craft, and everything was ready for liftoff.
Okay, Virgil, lift off,
Scott ordered. Virgil put his craft at full power, and the top-secret Superstrike 24 was plucked safely from the edge of disaster. He swung out from the mountain peaks and set his course for a rendezvous with a World Navy aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where he could safely deposit his precious cargo. Meanwhile, Scott was setting up a disposing of the alien photographer. The Hood, blissfully unaware of the fact that International Rescue were onto his scheme, was gleefully collecting photographic references galore.
"Now I know all your secrets, International Rescue,"
he gloated.
"I think I'll just set up my ray in your direction and bring your craft down to await further inspection. If there's anything left after the crash."
Suddenly, his dream was shattered as he realized that Thunderbird 1 was sweeping down on him at full speed. He hurriedly reached for the ray to bring it to bear on the approaching Avenger, but he was too late. "I'm going to use the electromagnetic beam, Virgil," reported Scott. "That should demolish his equipment and wipe all his film. It will also give him a bit of a shock, quite literally, if he's still handling the equipment."
Good hunting, Scott.
Replied Virgil.
Deserves more. But our policy is to save life, not to destroy it.
A quick flick of a switch, and the Hood's equipment went up in smoke as the electromagnetic beam did its deadly accurate work. The Hood really did get his fingers burned as he realized too late what was happening. Scott and Thunderbird 1 zoomed off triumphantly after collecting photographic evidence for the World Police to investigate. The Hood would have to lie very low for a long, long time once the boys in blue were on his trail. And so it was back to base. Back on Tracy Island, it was again a normal and everyday scene. The family relaxed heavily, with all traces of the international rescue operations carefully hidden underground. The casual viewer would notice nothing untoward whatever, just a normal, happy family relaxing at home. Even a thorough inspection would find it practically impossible to uncover the tremendous secrets of this power-packed island. Yet the Tracy family share a proud secret, the secret of international rescue, a secret which has been responsible for averting countless disasters. And the only reward sought by this devoted team is the knowledge that they have made the planet Earth a safer place to live in. They seek no medals or public acclaim, simply the satisfaction of a job well done. And so, the Tracy family relax in between missions. They frolic at Tracy Island's swimming pool, they entertain themselves with self-made music. Brains tinkers with experiments in his laboratory with a view to ever improving the equipment available to international rescue. All in all, a usual family setup until the warning lights flash and John in Thunderbird 5, the permanent space monitor, reports another imminent disaster requiring the services of international rescue. Then the decks are cleared for action, and the magnificent machines explode powerfully into action.